So we finally set up.
Yes.
Thank fuck for that. Oh yeah, we have an office now. We'll do a tour after this. There's a persistent fact about earthworms that if you cut one in half, each half will go on to live a completely independent, albeit slightly shorter, life as an entirely new worm. While this isn't true, there is a historic precedent of something very similar happening with a boat, the HMS Porcupine.
So what kind of boat was the HMS Porcupine?
It was a P-class British destroyer that served during World War II and had a relatively short and somewhat underwhelming military career, limited almost entirely to a single rescue of about 241 soldiers who were thrown into the Mediterranean Sea when the boat they were on just had the shit torpedoed all the way out of it by a German U-boat. So what I'm imagining now is the sailors aboard the HMS Porcupine dragging those soldiers out of the ocean and just going, oh, sunk by a German U-boat. Oh, shit's embarrassing, isn't it? Oh, sure, I'm glad that's not going to happen to us. Because smash cut to a year later in 1942 when the exact same thing happened to the HMS Porcupine when it was escorting a submarine carrier.
I hope after it rescued some of those sailors in the water that some of them joined the crew. And as it was sinking, they're just there with their cups of tea.
Just there, no, it's, oh no, not again. I know it's a weird tangent, but it reminds me somewhat of Halo. Because in that game, occasionally the grunts will shout things as you're shooting them. And one of the voice lines grunts can have is, oh no, not again, when you stick them with a grenade. Which, if people haven't played Halo, is a guaranteed kill against most human man-sized enemies. So the idea is that when you stick a grunt, that's happened before and they somehow survived. But even Master Chief dies when he gets stuck by a grenade, which means somehow that grunt survives something that can kill the demon of the battlefield, Master fucking Chief. The plasma grenade in Halo is fucking awesome because the idea behind it is you click a button on it and then a coat of boiling hot plasma comes around so it sticks to things. So the plasma burns into whatever you're doing, including human targets, which is why it sticks to people. But the idea is that the grunt gets hit and goes, oh no, not again. But when I was playing Halo, that happened when me and my mate both stuck a grunt on the arse as it was running away. We were playing co-op and just this dummy, thick fucking grunt running away with two glowing arse cheeks. He's like, oh no, not again, as he just twerks into oblivion.
A video game character saying, oh no, not again. I'm surprised that's not Nathan Drake's catchphrase.
It should be, yeah.
Because every single time he walks into any kind of structure, that structure will collapse.
Okay, let's go for it then. The John McClane of video games. Because that's John McClane's line in Die Hard 2, isn't it? How can the same shit happen to the same guy twice?
Oh man, I can't fucking believe this. How can the same shit happen to the same guy twice?
And then obviously it happens in 4 more times after that. So what video game character do you think deserves the John McClane award of the same oddly specific scenario keeps happening to them and they never seem to acknowledge how weird it is? I think Nathan Drake counts though because every time he walks into a building, that shit's going to explode. Mine is Samus Aran from Metroid series, because every time she starts a new mission, she loses all the power-ups. I must imagine it's like that old-ass meme of the guy's like, I can't hold all these limes, and he's just dropping, it's just Samus with all the power-ups as she walks into the mission, then immediately lose them all. It's like, oh, come on, Samus. How you in the last mission, you had the hyper beam, and now you're running around with the pew-pew gun. What's up?
What about Solid Snake? You can't get sent on a mission without a Metal Gear just turning up.
Oh, I thought you were going to say without his equipment going missing, because that's canonically explained that he only takes a pistol. Is Solid Snake, and by extension, the guy he's cloned from, Naked Snake, the most confident character in video games? It's like, what's my mission today, Major Zero? Well, you've got to go find and track down a bipedal walking nuclear tank that's going to be driven by a guy with pseudo-electric powers who can punch bullets out of his arms, who's also supported by the Cobra unit led by your former boss, some of which have nebulous, magical powers, including a guy who can, photosynthesize the sun, a guy who can turn invisible, a guy who has, can fire bees at you. And we want you to get in there, break in, and blow that shit up. Okay, sounds good. What equipment do I need? Okay, a pistol. I think I'm done. That's it, just walked in with
his pistol, cigarettes.
It's like Leon Kennedy at the start of Resident Evil 4. It's like, okay, I've got to go into this European village and I've got to track down the president's daughter who's been kidnapped by this cult. What do I take? A bog standard pistol and 10 bullets?
So what happened when the Porcupine was sunk?
Basically, it split almost entirely in half, and all the crew obviously jumped overboard and were later rescued by a boat which dragged them alongside the wreckage of the HMS Porcupine all the way to Algeria. And I'd like to think that the little French tugboat that rescued them and like dragged the the Porcupine to safety just tooted its little horn the entire way, just for the insult. So the sailors are looking back like this British destroyer, the pride of the British Navy. It's just toot toot, little French little tugboat. Have you ever seen how strong tugboats are? They're like this big, like comparatively. And they can drag like, because obviously you're on water, they can drag like cruise liners and all that bullshit. I want to see that like translated to the road. Like when the AA turn up, they don't turn up in like a big truck and put it on the back. No, they turn up in a clown car and just attack the foot and just do and like the little
all those little Fisher Price things.
just the whole
Just with the pedal power. Just on the floor.
Just Fred Flintstone in it all the way.
So they managed to get this wreckage all the way to shore?
Yeah, they got to Algeria where some French dock workers just went, you know what? Nah. Fuck this, and stripped it of anything worthwhile and then sent it back to Britain, whereupon a non-French dock crew realised, well, the damage to this boat is localised entirely around the area the torpedo struck, which means like each half of the boat is 90% functional and mostly not on fire, so we could theoretically use this.
Well, in my head, the logical thing there is to just repair the middle of the boat.
No, because that would have left a small but critical weak point on the boat. And would you really want to put sailors on that thing when you know if it gets hit here again, it can basically split in half and kill everybody? Not to mention, I don't think any sailor is going to get on that fucking boat if he knows it's two boats basically sellotape back together. So what they did instead is they cut the boat entirely in half and then welded it up so each half floated and turned them into floating accommodation for dock workers and sailors. And they put them in the water. The thing is, though, by Navy tradition, and the British Navy, any floating vessel that's in service of the realm has to have a name. And this is where the fun part's at. So obviously, when officials asked, well, what should we dub each half of this boat? They found out that dock workers, when they were repairing the two halves, had called each half the HMS Pork and the HMS Pine. Pork, you pine. And officials found the name so fucking hilarious. They went, you know what? Yeah, let's go with that. And that's the name they ended up using. And they dubbed each half of the boat those two names, Pork and Pine. And they served until the end of the war. This is a place for sailors and dock workers to go when they need to be on the water. And I would like to imagine that when they christen the boat, they use two halves of a bottle of champagne.
Oh, that'd be cool.
I imagine Willy Wonka at the end of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. They go to Willy Wonka's office. I like to think that each boat was like that, but only it's opposites. And then when you've got, oh man, where the fuck is it? Where's the other half of the instruction manual of how to repair this thing? Oh, it's in Pine.
That'd be amazing if everything was someone's can you pass me the salt and vinegar for my chips? I've only got the salt.
Yeah, yeah.
You'll have to head over the other
Have you got the salt for my fish and chips? What do you mean fish and chips? You got fish. And you have to go over together. Everything is half. There's no salt and vinegar crisps, it's salt crisps or vinegar crisps. But yeah, the boat obviously served in the function that they created it for until the end of the war, and it was scrapped in 1947 because apparently floating middle fingers to the Germans had little use post World War II.
So Karl, this is the first episode that should be going up that's filmed in the new office.
Yeah, the office that we've got for filming purposes because, fun fact, prior to today's episode, every single episode of Fact Fiend was filmed in Brad's house. More specifically, in his bedroom. Which was really embarrassing for you, wasn't it? Because how many times did you bring someone over to your house and they walked into your bedroom and see a full green screen, light setup, and a camera just put, and so, if I remember correctly as well, you turn the camera around. That is some high-class amateur pornography when you get lighting involved. So I'm not just going to fuck you. I'm going to fuck you with soft lighting on this bit, with a green screen, so we could do it anywhere. Because we should probably tell that story. Because when we were setting up this office, obviously, I've had to sign a load of forms and make it all official. And we've had to do it through the business that I own, which if you don't remember, folks, is called Big Wangers Incorporated, which is a real thing you can look up. So as you can imagine, when I was being given a tour of this lovely building, and they were asking me what I'd use the space for, I was replying, oh, I make videos. Not realising that, oh, I make videos, and I own a company called Big Wangers Incorporated is a bit suspicious.
Not to mention Karl Smallwood.
Not to mention Karl Smallwood. And then, obviously, the things I've ordered for the office seem a bit suspicious, in retrospect. I ordered a sofa, Because I thought, oh, you need somewhere to sit down when you're in the office. But I thought, oh, a sofa, lighting, a camera, and big wangers. That's probably a bad thing. And they did ask me that. They found out later the council, because they have to sign off on something apparently, also queried it and asked what I was doing with the space.
Yeah,
You were there.
I
when it
was
happened.
there. They wanted confirmation
You can
that the
confirm.
videos were not of an adult nature.
Brad can confirm. So we can do a tour. Well, the space isn't finished yet. We might as well show it off because we're probably going to get people asking. So there's this green screen here. So we can turn around. Can we turn the camera around?
I can point it.
Okay, so we can turn it over here, and we can go to my lighting. This is the big light. Look at that. We've got lights to turn. So that's where we keep all the t-shirts. This is my desk where I do work. That's where I do work. It's cool. There's soundproofing up, which can't figure out how to stick to the wall, so we're just stacking it at the moment. There's going to be a TV here for streaming. There's a sofa right here, which...
I can... Do you want me to point it down?
Can you point it down, yeah?
One sec. I've got to loosen this thing here. Oh, wrong way.
The Big Wangers office tour. They've got a sofa here, which obviously is where they thought I was filming all that my freaky porn. And that's it. The space here is going to be a bookshelf and all stuff to put up. Oh yeah, we can show off the most important thing, and of course, the beer fridge right next to where we record, so I can always get... You know what? I'm actually thirsty right fucking now. There's no beer in it. Oh, it's on my lunch. There's a sandwich in there. Fine. You know what though, Brad? Here's to some good work. Cheers, everybody. All right. Oh, fuck's that. I pot it off myself. What a fucking start.